Yo, what is going on, guys? It's Ronja here, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about limiting your tilt in Clash Royale. Avoiding tilt completely is honestly impossible because, after a while you're just going to get annoyed. But basically, there are ways to limit most of the tilting that happens in Clash Royale. And there are a couple things that, pro players and things like that do in order to avoid tilting. I'm just going to give you guys an example of tilting if you guys don't know what it is. Basically, it's when you keep losing games because you're aggravated. And I'm going to give you guys a prime example of this. So you hop into a match, you lose it, you hop into another match, you lose it, you hop into your third match, and at this point you're fed up with losing. So right as soon as the game starts, you drop Night Witch and Giant at the bridge, and then your opponent has a P.E.K.K.A. and an Executioner and completely cleans up your push, and then 3 crowns you on the way back. So that's an example of tilting. The reason why you played the Giant and Night Witch at the bridge is because you were tired of losing and you were annoyed, so you ended up doing something very irrational, trying to get some damage off on the tower. That's basically what happens when people tilt in Clash Royale. They have like horrible mistakes that they otherwise wouldn't have made. That's a problem that almost every single person has, and it can show itself even like in small tiny amounts. Like even if you're a tiny bit annoyed, you can get tilted and make some mistakes. So I'm going to be telling you guys a couple of things that a lot of people do in order to stop tilting, and a couple of things I do myself in order to stop tilting. But first, I'm going to show you guys a tweet from Saiyan Belican. He says the difference between the best players is not their technical skill, it's their mentality after losing. And what's meant by this is that the best players in the world don't really tilt too much when they lose, and they don't really blame outside factors except for themselves when they lose. Of course, they might complain about a hard counter or something like that, but at the end of the day, they're going to try to improve themselves instead of complaining about it. What I mean by this is they're going to analyze replays, they're going to look at the mistakes they made in those replays, and then they're going to try to practice and get better in those situations when they arise again. So basically, that's what pro players do. They look at their replays, they find the mistakes they made, and they try to capitalize and try to improve upon those mistakes that they made. That's the difference between a good player and, I guess, a new player and a great player. Basically, the new player just blames the hard counter. Oh, they have P.E.K.K.A. and I have Hog Rider. There's nothing I can do. Whereas the pro player is like, I'm going to figure out a way to beat the P.E.K.K.A. That's what pro players do. They figure out ways to beat the hard counters, guys. That's why pros always finesse the hard counters, because they look for ways to improve their gameplay all the time instead of just staying stagnant. They try to improve themselves in all aspects. However, no matter how much you really try to improve your gameplay and focus on improving, there's going to be a point in time where you're just tilting. There's nothing you can do about it. You're just annoyed, you're tired, and Clash Royale is just starting to get on your nerves. If that happens to you, I'm going to show you guys a couple things that I do to help out. One of the first things you guys can do is basically just log out. Honestly, if you guys lose 3 or more matches in a row, you should just log out the game. After about the 3rd loss, you guys are probably already tilted, and you're going to start making mistakes. Unless you've been on a huge gaming streak, you've played 30 matches in a row or something like that, then losing 3 matches within the first 5 you play is probably a sign that you should just stop playing. But yeah, normally losing 3 matches in a row is a good time to start playing either another game or logging out and doing something else. If you guys can't seem to log off the app for whatever reason, then you guys should probably play 2v2. That's something that I do to stop tilting a lot. 2v2 is pretty fun, in my opinion, especially when you use Giant Skeleton, Miraclone, Rage Heal, Sparky, and Tornado all in the same deck. It's pretty fun because you have just spells, and I don't know, it's just fun. And also spamming emotes at the same time. You can do 2v2s and spam emotes when you win. That always cheers you up a little bit. But also you can tilt in 2v2, which is kind of a problem. If you tilt in 2v2, you need to get a therapist. I'm just kidding. But basically, playing the game can still tilt you no matter if it's 2v2, 1v1, whatever. But 2v2 is probably the best way to avoid tilting if you're going to be tilting. But let's go ahead and talk about some other stuff here. Some of the things I typically do to stop tilting are as follows. I like to switch my deck up a lot. I like to change decks. I try to use new decks I've never used before. Basically, the reason why is because if I'm using a deck I've never used before, I'm not really going to get mad when I lose, because I'm like, I've never used this deck. I can't expect to win every match. Next is drinking water. For some reason, drinking water calms me down. I think it calms down everybody, but drinking water is pretty good. It hydrates you, etc. Playing music that you like always helps me. Sometimes the music gets annoying though, if you lose and you have a song on, you just get annoyed by the music. So sometimes that's not a good idea, but If that's the case, you should just be logging out anyway. Next is watching Clash Royale videos. The reason why is because Clash Royale videos are what people use to help them get better. They watch other people play, they learn things, and watching my videos in particular is probably going to help you guys out a lot since I upload every single day. That'll help you guys out a lot. Again, analyzing replays, that's something I do myself. I analyze replays sometimes. I don't analyze them like every single time I lose. I analyze them when it's like a match that I felt like I had no chance in winning. That's definitely a time that I will analyze the replays. And then finally, I do some schoolwork. Doing schoolwork seems like really boring probably to you guys, but honestly, doing schoolwork, number one, it's productive. Number two, it helps you stop tilting. So yeah, guys, those are some of the things I do to stop tilting. Hopefully those things can help you out as well when it comes to tilting, and hopefully you guys can find a way to stop tilting and get better at the game. So yeah, that's it for this little video, guys. I'm just sharing a couple of things that I do to stop tilting, and that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you learned something, hopefully you guys stop tilting. I think I already said that 3 or 4 times. I'm talking in circles now. See you guys later. Peace out.